Hey there everybody, welcome back to the studio. You ever want to make your own canvas panels? Um, I started making these to fit into a painting box that I travel around with. And I found that I could take some hardboard. This actually has a finish on the back that I sanded, but it's no big deal. Take some hardboard that I got from the hardware store, and I took it out on the table saw, cut it to the right size. This is 12 by 16, and I'm going to use this to make a panel. I'm going to cover it with canvas. Now I have two different kinds of canvas here. This is a very, I shouldn't say very, but it is a heavier canvas. It's a heavy canvas. I actually liked this better. And as you can see here, I actually have one in the process that we will, this is my step 2. This is my step 3. Here's my step 1. But this is actually on MDF, 1/4 inch MDF. It's a little thicker. It won't fit in my travel box. However, I do like painting on these. So I decided to make one. So this is 1/4 inch thick with the heavy canvas, whereas my hardboard is an 1/8 inch thick, and I'll be using a lighter weight canvas. This will actually give you a bit of a smoother canvas, a little less tooth. This definitely gives you much more tooth, the thicker one. But we're gonna start off, we'll, I'll show you how I adhere this canvas onto here. And then we'll go on to this step where we will fold over and adhere the edges to the back and do another coat. And then we'll move on to this one back here. This is a 12 by 36 that I've actually made for a commission piece. The client has a frame this size. However, a stretched canvas will not fit in this frame. There was actually a print under glass in it. She liked the frame, wanted to keep it, so I recommended this canvas panel. And yeah, I'll be painting this one here soon. It's almost ready. There's a couple more coats of gesso need to go on there. We'll be doing that. So anyways, if you're ready, I'm gonna set things up so we can get the camera onto the table so you can see what I'm doing. And I'll be right back. Okay, and we're back. Now, before we get going too hard and heavy here, I will say you may want to get you an apron, some old clothes, something, because this is a little messy. Like I said, it's a pretty simple thing to do. It does take a little time, but I personally think it's worth it. I do know some artists that will use the pre-made canvas boards that you can get at your local craft stores. I don't particularly like them. They have a cardboard core. I don't care for the cardboard core. And so I decided to make my own to fit into this little travel box. So here we're gonna go, like I said, this one is gonna be hardboard with the lighter weight canvas. Now, how are we gonna get this thing to stick? Glue? No, we're gonna use a chip brush. Whoop, there it is, a chip brush, and some white gesso to begin with. And what I'm gonna do is I am going to just start covering this entire surface with this gesso. Now, I'm putting it on a little bit thick. That's okay. In fact, it's a good thing. Now I'm going to make sure that I get all surface, the entire surface covered. All right. I would also have rubber gloves on right now, but I don't have any, and I didn't feel like going out to buy some. I'll be honest, I didn't want to go anywhere today. So it's Saturday, and I just wanted to stay home. I've been doing art stuff all day. Just finished up with Peer Pressure. That will be going to its new owner in Pennsylvania once it is dry. I do have Winter Howl that I have not shipped yet to Oregon, but I will actually tomorrow. I'll package it and take it to UPS on Monday morning. I haven't shipped that one yet because the fast dry medium that I used on it, it did dry, but it's been sticky. And I mean, to the point that stuff wants to stick to it. So I didn't want to try shipping it quite, at that point. So I gave it another week to dry. And I think when I ship it, I'm probably going to ship a blank canvas sitting on top of it, just to protect it. The only thing that will be touching the painting at that point will be right around the edge where a frame would go. So that'll work. All right, now we have our gesso all over our panel here. Now I am going to take my canvas. Now, a little quick tip, and I actually found this out with the heavier weight canvas and the MDF board that we're going to be moving on to here in just a minute. I found out that it, especially on the heavy canvas, it helps a lot to iron your piece. Cut it to size, let it overlap, and then, as you can see, I just have an old towel on this table. I just took a medium iron and went over the cloth. And on the heavier ones especially, if you have a wrinkle in there, I mean, you can get it out, but it's just easier if you just don't have it to begin with. Okay, now I have my canvas on here. Now what I have here, this is just a little scrap of wood. Honestly, I think I got it at Hobby Lobby. I don't even know what it was for. Excuse me. Didn't even know what it was for, but I thought, hey, that'll be a good scraper. So it's wood, but you can use anything really. You could use an old credit card, just anything flat. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start here in the middle, and I'm going to work my way out. Now you see that? I don't know if you can, if the camera's picking that up, but I have two big wrinkles right there. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of help those along, pull them out. There we go. Okay, now I'm just going to go from the middle out. And if I wind up with a wrinkle someplace, I'm just going to help it find its way out. There. And I want to be sure that I'm getting these edges and these corners, these edges and the corners real well. Now, honestly, I probably could have used some more gesso on there. I'd like to see it squeezing through the fabric, but that's okay. It's not that big of a deal because we're about to put another coat of gesso right on top of this. And that will be what I consider the first coat. I know, I have a coat on the board, between the board and the canvas. I don't consider that a first coat. I don't know why, I just don't. Probably because the canvas isn't covered, and that's what I want. Okay, I don't know if you can hear that, but I'm pushing it out there. Okay, Awesome. Now I'm just going to let those sides just kind of hang. That's cool. Nothing wrong with that. Okay, now back to our chip brush, back to our gesso, and starting in the middle, I'm just going to really work that in there. Work that in. Don't worry, at this stage, you can't mess it up. You know? Just put gesso on and work it in. Like I said, I wish I had some gloves. I don't. It's gesso. I'm not particularly worried about it. Okay, and I want to be sure that I get this everywhere. Although I am going to try to leave my overhang untouched by gesso. I mean, someone's going to get on there. It just, inevitably it will. It's not the end of the world. It's just a little bit easier if you don't have a bunch of gesso on your fold over areas. Oh, and another thing. I have this little box I have this thing sitting on. That was a gift from Progressive. I don't even know what came in it, but it says Progressive all over it. I'm not going to reuse it, you know, for a Christmas present. Put a present in there, give it to somebody. It says Progressive on the box. So might as well use it for something. And it seems to serve this purpose really, really well. Okay, there's that. Boom, 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 boom. There we go. Now we're going to do some more over here. I mean, we're working that in. Now, I don't always paint on a white canvas. I would rather paint on a canvas that has some sort of, you know, tone to it. Whether, usually I'll add a little black gesso to this on my final coats, which I'll do on the big panel up here. Yeah, I like a gray surface, sometimes a burnt umber surface to work on. But that's just a personal preference. I mean, you know, just because I do it doesn't mean you don't, you know, you have to do it, or that I'm right and you're wrong. No, absolutely not. You do what works for you. Like I said, I have a friend who's an extremely talented artist. And I had posted something about making these canvas panels and how I didn't really care for the store-bought ones, and he said he uses those all the time and never has had a problem with them. And that's okay. Nothing wrong with that. I just don't particularly like them. Hey, you know what? I don't like liver either, but I bet there are people out there in the world that do. So, I also don't like tuna casserole. Ugh. My wife does. She likes it. She loves it. Okay. Boom. I mean, there you go. There's step one. Now, you could take this, and I have done it. I do find that I need to do this on the thick canvas, the heavier weight, is I will put the gesso on here just like this, and then I will go through and I will do another scraping, you know, just kind of like really adhering that to it, push all the stuff to the edge, because you're going to pick up little pills and stuff. You know, your canvas is going to pill. I guess that's the right way to say it, you know. And so just pull it out to the side, then discard it. You basically have used the gesso just to help you, you know, move on this canvas, and then re-gesso it. I don't really find that I need to do that with this lighter weight canvas, so I'm not going to. So that's it. That is it for step number one. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this aside and just let it dry. But I'm going to let it dry for 24 hours. Why, do you say? Because I am going to sand this next. And you do not want to try to sand if this is wet in any way, shape, or form. You could hit this with a hair dryer, but what I have found are these panels do not dry the way that a stretch canvas would, because the air is not blowing through it. It's hitting that surface and coming back. So it doesn't dry real well. It will dry with a hair dryer, but not great. It doesn't dry them well enough for me to say, okay, that's good enough. I want them to sit. So I'm just going to set this thing aside. Find a place for it that looks like a good place right there. Just put it right back there. Okay, and let's get this one. Okay. Boom. Now, this one is dry and at the stage that we just left the last one. Okay. It is dry and it is ready to be sanded. Now the edges, some of them have pulled up a little bit. I noticed someplace, oh, right here especially, it's not adhered right here on the edge. That's okay, we'll take care of that. But the first thing that I want to do, first I'm going to move my gesso, my brush, and my little scraper aside because I do not want any of the debris from us sanding this getting into that stuff. Just not good. Now I'm going to sand this with 240 grit sandpaper. I'm going to use a little mouse sander or a palm sander. That's what I'm going to use. However, I do not recommend this for anybody who is not very comfortable using one of these. If you're comfortable using a palm sander, okay, fine. 240 is probably about the roughest grit that I would use. So that's what I have on here. But if you don't feel comfortable with this, I highly recommend that you do it by hand. Somewhere around here. Oh, I see it. Wrong drawer. It's because it's not in a drawer. Okay. There we go. You can just hand sand it. Okay? Right there. And this is 220. This one is 240. See, it even says 240. It says 240 on there. Okay. All right. I kept thinking 240. Usually it's 220, but okay. But anyways, they're about the same. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and sand that here real quick. And I'm not bearing down. I just want to get the roughness off here. And there is a lot of roughness on here. Okay, here we Well, quick and easy, right? Now, take that off, brush that out, and this is much smoother now. Is it ready to paint? Nah, not yet, but we're getting there. So I'm gonna move my gesso and stuff back. Okay, get on back over here, chip brush. Okay. So now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to flip this upside down. And I'm going to take this gesso, and I'm going to go right around the edges here. And I'm going to make sure that I get down there on the edge. Now, this being 1/4 inch surface, I definitely have an edge there that I can get. So I'm just coming here, here. Same with over here. Okay. We need something thicker than that over here. There we go. Nice and thick coated gesso along those edges. Yeah. Now, I have had people kind of surprised that I am actually adhering this canvas to the panel with just gesso. Why don't I use glue? Because you don't need to. That's exactly why. This does just fine. No problems at all. Now, on that first coat, while it's wet, even if it feels touch dry, until it's fully cured, you will be able to lift that canvas right off that panel. But once that sucker dries, you're good to go. All right, now I'm going to fold this over. Where is my little wood piece? There it is. I'm right here in the middle. I'm folding it over, and I'm just bringing it, and I'm hitting that edge. I'm bringing it in here tight. Bringing it in tight. Tight, tight, tight. Come on, get on there. Sometimes you got to sweet talk them. I'm telling you. Sometimes you got to hold your tongue correctly, or it just doesn't work. I'm telling you, it's truth. It's the truth. Okay, now let's take some more gesso. Let's hit this. Okay. Now, more gesso. In fact, speaking of which, that bucket is about out, but it has lasted a good long time. Many of you all know that I gesso all my canvases. If I buy a stretch canvas someplace, it's getting gessoed. If I buy a canvas panel someplace, it's getting gessoed. And do you want to know why? Because I do not trust a factory gesso priming job. I do not. I have been burned so many times. Triple prime canvas. If it's triple primed, then it should not eat up my medium. Guess what? Most of those triple primed ones do. You know what doesn't? Canvases that I have primed myself. So that's why I prime my own canvases with gesso. I do it myself. Okay. There we go. There we go. And I'm just going to put another little, just a light little coating on there. I'm just holding everything in place. There's one side. Now I'm going to flip this around because it's kind of hard for me to do pulling it to me. But you should still be able to see this pretty well. I mean, heck, you just watch me do that one, right? But at the same time, watch the box that you're setting your stuff on, because sometimes it wants to turn too. Just should have put a no slip pad under that, but I didn't. It's too late now. And like I said, wish I had gloves. Oh well. Okay, so back to this. And I'm just pulling it over. Now, I cut this piece of canvas just a little bit narrow for my taste. I wish I had a little more overhang, but you know, it is what it is. I'm not going to get upset over it. I mean, what are you going to do? Even, I mean, you're pretty much, it's what it is now. You get on there. Okay, here. Let me help you out there. Let me help you out there, buddy. All right. Okay, we're about to get to the hard part. And I don't really have a good way of saying how to do these corners. I'm still kind of trying to figure that out myself. So far, I've been able to make it work, but you know, it's a little bit of trial and error. Okay, there's that. Now I'm going to take this and I am going to press that in. Now, see these, I don't know if you can see them, those strings that are coming off here? There we are. Don't worry about them. No big deal. I mean, this is the back, right? I mean, if it's that big of a deal, wait until this thing's dry, then come along with a razor knife and cut them off. I mean, you know, you could do that. Me, I just leave them. I'll be honest with you, if I'm looking at a piece of art, especially one that I want to hang on my wall, and I know that it's, you know, it's not some mass-produced something I can buy at Hobby Lobby or Michael's, which, you know, why do you want to buy that when you could buy actual artwork from an artist in your local community? But anyways, that's beside the point. Yeah, I totally lost my train of thought, but I'm sure it'll come back to me. I started looking at this. Oh, what I like is, you know, these, when you buy a piece of art, for me anyways, I want to see, hey, hair came out of the brush there. I don't care if he got it or not. If it's still on the painting, that's okay. Heck, I saw a painting once that actually had someone's thumbprint in it, and oh, big deal. I don't care. I know that was done by the artist. And then somebody in one of the Facebook groups, and I'm sure you're watching, Gabby, or at least I hope you are. She mentioned in our group, hey, put your fingerprint on your painting. That way, I mean, there's no question you painted that. That's yours. I was like, man, that's a pretty freaking good idea. Okay, now how are we going to make this happen? Because I could just go over, but oh, actually that might work with this one. But I always keep my scissors handy because I might have to trim a little bit here on the corners, which I think I might. I say I keep them handy. Where the heck did they go? Let's see. Here's my shears. These will work. Okay, what I'm going to do is right here, I'm just going to come and just take just a little bit off. See there? And do the same over here. Got it folded up. And let's see. We'll take a little bit off the top. Take a little off the top. Let's see how that's going to work. Well, first off, quit hanging onto my finger there, or my thumb. Okay, let's see. Oh, I think that'll be just lovely. Loverly. Loverly. All right, cool. Okay, so back to my chip brush. Okay. And I'm gonna go over all this. See, it's not terribly hard to do. Like I said, it's not. It does take some work. It does take some time. You have to decide if it's worth it to you or not. For me, it is, just because I like these canvas panels that I make. But that's me. If that ain't you, that's cool too. There is nothing wrong with that. I mean, isn't it great we're not all the same? I mean, how boring would life be if we were all the same? I don't want us to be all the same. I like the fact that we're different. We have different experiences and different outlooks and different opinions. You know what? And I'm going to say this loud and clear, and I want everybody to hear it. Just because somebody doesn't agree with you on something does not make them an evil person. It doesn't. And if you're of that ilk that thinks that, oh, they don't think like I do, they didn't vote for who I wanted, they don't support the policies that I like, and that ain't cool. That ain't cool at all. You need to knock it off, because we're all here to get along. Okay? I can disagree with you and still like you. There are some people, and I'm not saying that it's you necessarily that are watching this, but there are some people in this world who think that way, and it aggravates the living snot out of me. I mean, why can't we just disagree without being disagreeable? I mean, my God. Let's be grown-ups, people. Okay, I'm off my soapbox. You know I have to get on my soapbox at least once on a video. Okay. Heck, if anybody saw my interview with Gabby, you know I got on my soapbox there too and bawled my freaking eyes out. It's a little embarrassing, but at the same time, I thought, you know what, this is who I am, and I'm not apologizing for it. I'm not. This is who I am. This is how much this means to me. And if that is upsetting to you, if you don't like to see a grown man cry, well, you know what? I don't know what to say, because I'm not changing. Okay, let's go here. Let's go here and see what we got. Yeah, I think we're going to do the same thing over here. Bada bing, bada freaking boom. We'll just go at an old slight angle there. That looks gorgeous. And we will come over here and we will go at an angle here. That'll work. At least I think it will. Now take your scraps and go ahead and get rid of them, because otherwise you're going to set your hand down and it's going to stick to your gesso covered fingers, and you're going to want to say a dirty word on video, and you don't want to do that because your mom might be watching. And that is the truth with my hand up. Oh wait, you didn't see that. With my hand up. I am 58 years old and I still care what my mama thinks. Yes, I do. I do. I love my mama. I love her with everything that I am. And you know what? I was so blessed that I even got a bonus mom. And I love her too. Absolutely love her. Some of us just are very blessed like that. Of course, I think about all the women who have been in my life who have been such an influence on me, and my outlook, and I mean, I got to think of my grandma and my Nina, both of them. Nina is grandma on paternal side. I mean, good grief. They taught me so much. Nothing but respect. But yeah, I love my mama. And if you're watching this, Mom, love you. She came last Mother's Day. Actually, it was after Mother's Day because I was in Florida. I'm always in Florida on Mother's Day, except this year because our condo is not, you can't occupy it right now after Hurricane Ian. Yeah, but she came here right after Mother's Day last year. She was in town and she stopped by and she sat with me and I painted her a painting. I did. And I had loads of fun. Loads of fun. Okay. All right. Now, what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to take this and I'm going to flip it. Boom. And I'm going to come back over this way. And I'm going to get a little bit of gesso in the back of my hand. Because, you know, hey, why not, right? As I said, if you have an apron, just some gnarly clothes, you don't care about them getting, you know, crap on them, and some gloves, you'd be in good shape. Okay, now, this is first coat. Remember that? Just what we did with our other panel. This is first coat. I'm going to put second coat on it. Okay? Second coat. And I will be sanding after this coat too. Now, I'm not going to make you sit through sanding this 12 by 36 inch canvas. Now, right here, I don't know if you can see it, if the camera's picking it up, but I got a hair, or not a hair, but a piece of canvas. That's a little, whoop, get down here, Dale. A little string there. So, keep on the lookout for stuff like that, because it happens. But, you know, it's really not a big deal. Okay, let's get some gesso on here. I saw a big old, yep, there it is. There it is. Okay, that was dried gesso from the lid. Okay. All right. Do. Well, I need some more down here. It's still kind of dry down here. And we'll get those corners, and we're gonna just smooth it out. Make sure that we have an even distribution of gesso. I hate it when my gesso's not even. Hang on, we got more right there. There we go. Now remember, get those edges, get those corners. Make sure you get those. It's easy to get the surface here, the I don't know, the working surface. We tend to get a little lazy on the, or at least I do, get a little lazy on the edges and the corners. Don't want to be lazy there. That's where you really want to be sure that you get it good coverage. You want it everywhere, but you really want to get it on those edges and the corners. Now, don't worry if you don't get everything. You don't get this thing laying exactly, completely, totally, evenly smooth, because we're gonna be sanding this again. Okay. All right. Well, I believe we have just completed the second step. Okay. So there is the second coat of gesso on this panel, and we have the edges folded over and tucked in and should be adhered. Let me look at this. Yep, on the back side. So what I'm going to do now is I am just going to put this out of the way, and I'm going to set the camera back up pretty much like I would do like if I was filming a video for, you know, a painting, because I'm going to gesso the panel, the big panel, while it's on the easel, and I think it'll just be easier for us. So in the meantime, yeah, I'll be right back through the magic of video. Don't go anywhere. Okay, folks, we're back. We are back. So I have traded in my chip brush, though, for a foam brush. These last two coats, especially the last coat, I like to do with foam. I just think I get a little bit of a smoother surface. And what I have done here is, I don't know how well that's showing up. That is gray gesso. I just took some black gesso, a few drops of that, added in with some white, and we have gray, which you should be able to see right there. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is I am going to gesso this canvas. Honestly, when I'm gessoing a canvas with foam brush, I always get gesso all over my fingers. Always. Oh well. Now, this first coat, and I'm not going to do the second coat on video because it's just going to be a repeat of what I'm doing now. But this first coat may look a little streaky because of the different color than what's underneath. It happens. That's okay. Don't worry about it. Give it a very light sanding, and this sanding I will do by hand. Just it's needs to be a more delicate touch than what I'm going to be able to get with the sander, because now I'm getting into my final coats of what I am actually going to paint on. So I want to be sure that that is as nice and smooth as can be, and this heavier canvas will still give me plenty of tooth, or at least plenty for what I need. So let's see here. Now this is such a large surface. Hope I mixed up enough. I guess we're about to find out. If not, I have some more. We'll mix up more. And one little quick tip that is for any time you're gessoing. If you're using something other than white or black, something that's not straight out of the tube, something like this, make sure that before you use up the last little bit, save a little bit there so you can kind of match the tone and color and everything. Because if not, you're not going to be happy. What did Bob always say? You'll be in agony city. Now, these foam brushes, sometimes if you just push, and this is where I get it all over my fingers, because if you just push, that sponge is really holding a lot of gesso in there. And like I said, this first coat may wind up looking kind of streaky. It probably will. I'm okay with that. I'm not worried, because I know after a light sanding and the next coat, it's going to be just fine. Won't even be able to tell. But you got to get that first coat on before you can do the second, right? It's funny how that works. Call me nuts, but it's been working like that my whole life. You got to do the first coat before you can do the second. Got to do step 1 before you can do step 2. Although I have been known to try to jump right into step 2, and usually it doesn't end well. But got a little bit of gesso, black gesso, that wasn't mixed in all the way. And that's all right. Let me just smooth it on out. Now, you can also, and I would have put this on with a roller. You can buy those little foam rollers for like next to nothing. And I would have used that. However, like I said, I didn't feel like going out today, so I didn't. So I'm using what I have. You know, we're not gonna let it stop us, doggone. We're doing art stuff. We can't let stuff stop us. Not when you're doing art stuff. Jeez. Woo-wee. We are getting down to the nitty-gritty here. Are we gonna have enough? I mean, I am just scraping up everything that's left there, trying to squeeze it out. I think we got it. Okay. Now, I'm just going to go back and forth. Okay. Now, I don't know if the camera is really picking it up, but it is kind of streaky looking. That's all right. It'll probably even look even more streaky once it dries. But I'm not going to get too concerned with that because I'm going to put another coat on it. And I am going to, I see one little spot I want to get. I'm going to sand it. You know, it's going to be fine. And you'll see, because I am going to be, this is for a commission piece, another Seascape, and I ain't gonna lie, I'm about ready for a break from Seascapes. I don't want to say I'm sick of them, because I'm not sick of them. I just ready for a little break from them. I've done a lot of Seascapes lately. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just sometimes, you know, hey, I like steak too, but I don't know that I'd really want to eat it every day. I'd like a little variety. So, but this one will be a Seascape because it is a commission piece. And when it's a commission piece, you do what your client would like. Otherwise, they wouldn't have hired you, right? I mean, seems to make sense to me. Okay, so there's that. All right. And guys, that's pretty much how I make my canvas panels. Now, the nice thing about these is you can make them any size you want. And if you happen to have a miter saw, and I haven't done it yet, but I'm going to start, at least I'm going to try. You can actually build frames for these in whatever size you want them to be. You know, 12 by 24, no. I want a 13 by 25. Hey, we can do that. Now, if you're using a heavier canvas, I will say you want to make your cuts about a 1/4 inch shy. So if you're doing a 12 by 36, you want like 11 3/4 by 35 3/4. Why? Because you're going to have, between the gesso and the heavy canvas, you're going to have about an 1/8 inch on each side. Okay, once you get that thing wrapped with that canvas. So it's going to add about an 1/8 inch on each side. Now the hardboard panels with the lightweight canvas, I usually cut those, I measure out exactly what I want. but then I'll cut the line out. And that gives me, I mean, just the width of the, the kerf of the blade on my table saw. And that's plenty. And that fits perfectly. I usually make 12 by 16 panels. I like painting 12 by 16s. I have been known to make a 16 by 20. This is the first time I've done a 12 by 36. So, hey, first time for everything. Yeah. So anyways, I'm going to leave it off there. If you have any questions, or if you have a better way of doing this, leave it in the comments for me. Heck, your way might be better, and I may start doing it your way. I am always open to that. So let me know. In the meantime, be looking for this big old 12 by 36 canvas. We're going to be painting us a nice seascape on it. Haven't quite, I don't have a reference photo. Haven't quite figured out exactly what we're going to do, but we're going to sketch it out here in the next week or so we can get that baby rolling. So guys, until next time, keep looking up, because that's where our strength comes from. I love you all. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye now.